everyone. Thank you so much for coming. To the people that haven't been with us before, welcome. It's always nice to see new faces. And those of you who have been with us before, again, welcome. I think it's always also nice to see familiar faces. There's a lot of familiar faces in the crowd today. So I would like to take this time to introduce our panelists for today, which include Chris Edington, who is the CEO of Shopstar. Is it my voice or is it? I'm too close to the television. Let me move this way. How's that? Better. Chris is the CEO of Shopstar. Shopstar is an easy-to-use online store builder, which is trusted by thousands of South African entrepreneurs. We also have Byron, Clarence, who is the business development manager at Payfast. Payfast is one of South Africa's trusted payment gateways for online businesses. And last but certainly not least, we have Michelle here in front, who is the founder and CEO of Adbot. Adbot helps startup founders advertise on Google Ads successfully by enhancing artificial intelligence and machine learning. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please help me welcome my guests on stage. All right. The only time I've sat in this stool is when I'm at the bar, so it's quite a suit for me sitting in these. But thank you so much for coming, guys. Oh, thank you so much. Here we go. Go on camera. This is why you're here. I think just to start, I'd just like to get a little bit, to know a little bit more about you guys. So maybe we can start with Chris. Just a little bit about your background, what you do, where you grew up, and then maybe some of the experiences that led up to this stage of your life.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My experiences have been an entrepreneur most of my life. I started my first business when I was about 16 and I was living in Johannesburg. It was back then a Thunder.com competitor, which was a very long time ago that was still even a thing. Yeah, from there, I just had many ideas and many things that I wanted to do. I was very much an ideas guy and I wanted to execute them. So eventually I learned how to build those ideas out and learned how to code. So I've had a very technical background growing up. Always been mostly on the computer for a lot of life. And yeah, from there I got into many different types of businesses. From a company called Geere, which was a eco-friendly web hosting company, through to one of the early websites and blogs in Cape Town called Cape Town Alive, which was more of a fun experiment amongst a group of friends that generally turned out to the business. And then yeah, just drove more in that direction of really building software and trying to create awesome ideas. And eventually we started the advertising agency with quite a strong dev house on unit to it. Where we built out a lot of really cool tech software. And then I left there towards the end of 2018 and joined Shopstar with another investor who took it over at the time. And I've been there ever since and really enjoying working at Shopstar. It's a really nice challenge to work on, empowering South African businesses to sell online. And that's where we are today.
Fantastic. What a journey you've had. I think, Byron, I would like to hear from you.
Yeah, sure. So history. Born Cape Town. Studied straight out of high school, decided to do the whole entrepreneurial thing for a while. It is tough, it was tough. But okay, it's not coming together for me. Decided to go back to study in my early 20s, did a stint in that, finished my qualifications, came out of my qualifications, okay, what next? Looked at the market, saw what is big, and I was just pointing everywhere, and everyone was starting to talk about payments, but this is like what is now 8 years ago. And yeah, and I thought, okay, let's go look at what's happening in payments. Came across Payfast, They were still in the infancy stage. They were founded in 2007 and they were still in the infancy stage in that growth period. And I thought, cool, this is a cool place to start. Met up with the founder at the time, Jonathan Smith, had a couple of meetings with him, and I just hounded him. I was like, I want to get into payments. This is where I'm at. I love money, and that's what I need to do.
He's honest.
That's it. I want money. And he's like, okay, then let's do this. And yeah, we just kept going at it. And 8 years later, we bought up by the TPO and now Network International. Jonathan Smith has moved on. And yeah, we're just growing leaps and bounds. So from a payments perspective, I just love it. I love the space. I love the entrepreneurs that I still get to engage with in this space. Because that is our clients, small to medium enterprise and startups. And yeah, that's why I love payments. That's why I'm here. Chat to you guys about all of that.
I think a lot of us can relate to the love and money part.
There we go. Absolutely.
That's,
sure. Exactly. So I'm not going to tell you where I'm from because the East Rand of Joburg is not something to discuss in open forums. But yeah, so I've been in the marketing and advertising sector for the last 15 years. I mean, we started out before Facebook even had ads. You could still build a whole website inside your Facebook page. It was crazy times. But yeah, I really kind of like love advertising, specifically online advertising, and I think through the years, we started to notice that all these big brands have like huge amounts of money that they can just give to agencies, and agencies would charge them so much fees, but they would achieve a lot of stuff online. And there was just such a massive gap for people like you guys. You need to get online, you need to advertise online, but you don't have the money to pay those huge amounts of fees. And yeah, and we started looking at experimenting and how we could solve that. And I think Adbot is a really good song for that. So we'll probably get into that in a sec.
Yes. With that said, I think it would be a good segment to just find a little bit more. Just briefly, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of things, but just briefly explain your organization, what you guys offer, the service that you guys offer, and sort of maybe why you guys started in the market and why you do what you do essentially. But again, we can start with President and
sure. Yeah, so Shopstar is a platform that is a simple way for people to start an e-commerce shop. It's a hosted e-commerce environment, so it's a solution where we provide all the tech, all the payment gateways, all the shipping, inventory management, and all the tooling you would need to start an online shop for a nominal monthly fee, instead of a different approach, which is a upfront purchase in a sense to get a developer to build all of that tech for you and put it all together, which can cost a lot. We do it on a fairly affordable monthly basis. Beyond that, we have a lot going on in Shopstar that really our target customer, excuse me, is creative entrepreneurs. So I think it's really coincidental that we're at this venue today. Walking through here downstairs, I walked through and I saw a couple of our customers' brand names shining there, and I felt really proud of that. But those are the type of companies that we really cater to and look after. It's the creative entrepreneurs, the people in South Africa who are so crafty and build things. I mean, it's so awesome walking through down there, the amount of creativity you see. And I think a lot of countries don't have that. I've been to a couple myself, and they really don't have the people who do things and build things and just get things done and make a business out of it. So those are the people we look after, and we last year rolled out a dropshipping network within the Shopstar platform, which is one of the things that make us unique in this market. Is we've got thousands of suppliers who, like I say, create things and make beautiful handmade South African products, and we make those available for sale to buy other people. So you can start an online shop. You might not have products yourself, but you can go and curate from this collection of South African suppliers products that you might want to sell and simply add them to your shop. And then, beyond that, we just really try and be the simplest way for people to start something online.
And I think it's quite interesting with the service that you guys offer and the type of marketplace. But we'll hold that thought to come back to that, I think. And Byron, I'd like to hear from your side.
Yeah, sure. Just, rope me if I go on a tangent, because I sell. Look, I mean, you know, like I was saying, and just echoing what Chris was saying now, is that we want to look after the market, so it's these small to medium enterprises, it's the startups. And being a payments facilitator, we're doing just that. You know, when you're coming into the space, when we're chatting about it with some of the guys, is that it's quite daunting to look at your website, to look at, you know, everything, and then to be with this payments fitting, and it's like this massive beast to look at all at once. So payments, we try to make it as simple as possible and just drop that barriers to entry as much as possible there as well. And we've done that by, for example, allowing for online applications to be quite seamless, so you can just get in there. We aggregate, so that means that we receive on your behalf, so you don't have to deal with the banks, you don't have to deal with all that other drama, all that contracts and all that jazz. That's on Payfast side. So the facilitation happens, we receive on your behalf, and then we unsettle to yourselves. We also allow for obviously understanding the market and knowing that there's many types of customers that you're potentially going to deal with. And we've opened up on payment methods. So it's not just taking cash, it's not just taking EFTs, it's credit cards, EFT, ESCO, debit card, Zapper, SnapScan, your QR options obviously like that. And buy now, pay later, which is a new option we launched now as well, and we're growing on that because we want to give you as a client more options when you go and face your client. Give them no reason to want to not pay you. And that's the payment side. And then the integration side, we also put a lot of effort in, making sure that our integrations are top notch and partnering with the right guys. So from a shopping cart perspective, you've got over 80 carts that you can potentially integrate into. You've got a custom option as you want to scale where you can self-build and then use our APIs and all that jazz in order to make things happen there. And then you've got very basic integration which just plugs that's very specific needs. When, for example, you just need a quick payment to be received, you can send off an email directly from your dashboard and so forth. And you can also create some basic code where you just enter some information and you can dump that into a little window on your blog or whatever, and someone can literally click a little button to make payments. So we've literally catered for everyone in that space. So from the startup and scaling with you guys.
Fantastic. Michelle?
Cool. So we do Google advertising, and I'm just going to kind of like give a brief summary of your options out there. If you guys want to do Google Ads to drive people to your website, you have two options. You can either do it yourself directly through Google, or you can pay an agency to do it for you. We've already chatted about the agencies taking up about 70% of your budget, which means that most of the money goes to the humans and not to the actual platform. So that's not really an option for you guys. The other one is you doing your Google Ads yourself. So I don't know if you guys know, but it takes about 20 hours to do your Google Ads effectively. That a week. So that's half a week just spending moving kind of like elements around within your Google platform. And if anybody has that time, please let me know as a startup. So the point is that what Adbot tries to do is it tries to take away that day-to-day administration. So it does all the work for you so that you can focus on growing your business, working out the logistics, figuring out like what needs to be updated on your website, or what's new in payment sections, what does my customers want to pay with, and make sure that you focus on that rather than on doing silly Google ads.
Fantastic. Now, Chris, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a small business. I've heard about Wix and all these other things that I can use to try to create a website, but I don't really know how to create a website. How does one start? How easy is it to start? What do I need to be able to put a website together?
Starting a website nowadays is really simple. The upfront things you need is an idea. I think there's many ways and means to create a website out there at the moment. A website, I guess, slightly different from an e-commerce endeavor. An e-commerce endeavor, you need a bit more upfront. You need to have something to sell or the idea to sell something. But it's become a much simpler process in the last few years. A couple of years ago, you would go. The only route would really be to go to a website developer or a software developer and say, cool, I need a website. They'll ask you for some designs which you need to pay for, you'll have to pay for the whole dev, and it was a very custom approach. And with the introduction of tools like Shopstar, Wix, Squarespace, and etc., the process of building a website is now extremely simple. I think in most instances, you'd be able to get yourself up and running in a day. You know, at Shopstar, our cheapest package for up to 25 products is 220 Rand a month, which is a extremely risk-free route to go. You know, if you want to launch a business and it's only going to cost 220 Rand to get that business up and running, you know, I think that speaks to the ease of it nowadays. Yeah, I think in preparation for it is the passion to do it. I think there's a very big difference between starting an online shop and starting an online shop that actually makes sales. And that's something that through our years of experience we've come to see more and more and more in the South African market. And it goes beyond into every market in the world really is, you know, it's easier to start the shop than to actually run and manage the business, because it's not cool. I'm going to launch my online shop today and sit back and the sales are going to come. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. There's billions of people on Google, they'll find me.
So, would you recommend someone building their own website from scratch, or would you recommend it as outsourcing?
It really depends on the stage of the business. You know, if it's a very early stage project that you want to start, then I think to test the market, it absolutely makes sense to not go a custom route and use you know, a platform like Shopstar where you can just get up and running and test the idea. Rather test the idea with very low capital expenditure to make sure that what you're actually doing is receptive to customers and customers like what you're doing, and start making sales. You know, as a business grows, I think you know, you'll get to a level where you start to need certain functionality to maybe integrate with an ERP system or a very custom requirement that your specific business needs. That's the kind of level you need to be at to go the custom route. But you know, for the first 2, 3, 4 years, I believe that a hosted approach is absolutely the way to go.
Fantastic, that's great. And I would like to move on to you, Byron. I think, you know, once obviously you created your website, whether you made it yourself or you outsourced, whatever it is, another important thing is obviously having a payment solution, right? Because you can't do transaction if there's no payment solution that's implemented.
Yeah.
So could you expand on the importance of that and maybe how people can go about doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, the importance is obvious. I mean, why are you building a website? You want to make money. Right? You started off like this.
The money thing again.
Money thing is important. That's why I'm standing here. So yeah. Oh yeah, man. You want to make money. Want to network and make money. So the importance is easy. You know, going on from Chris, you decide on what's easiest for you, what your needs are, is it scalable, all that jazz. You think about all that and then you build from there. And then you need to plug your payments into that. You need to think of that quite early on though. What I find a lot in the market is that guys do quite a lot of work into their dev, quite a lot of work on how they're going to market themselves and all this jazz, and then they don't think about payments until the end, which for me is very weird. Obviously because I care about money. So the first thing you need to do is focus on your payment provider, see if they're meeting your needs. Are they providing the needs that you have for your market? Right? Is that being met? Payfast does that. We'll give you all the different payment methods, we'll give you all the integrations, all that jazz we spoke about earlier. So start with that. Look at your website build, look at what they're partnered with, and make sure it's trusted. Make sure the compliance is there, make sure that they've got some good footprint in the space that you're in, and that your market needs are being met. Once that's done, then you kind of just move from there with payments. And then obviously the getting on board with payments is the easy part. I mean, that's the, you know, signing up, registering with us. And the rest is history once you plug into the website. I mean, the connection here is very seamless. Once you've basically got set up and you've got your card option on, we give you a couple of credits that's unique to yourself, and then plugs directly in, and then the payments is seamless after that.
Yeah, and just to expand on that and connect those two dots, the process, for example, with Shopstar and Payfast is incredibly simple. Once you have an account on both platforms, you simply fill in 2 fields and click go, and you're accepting payments. So the actual technical side of the hosted approach is already done for you. It's already catered and done in a what's the word I'm looking for? A opinionated approach, so that, you know, we know we need to do to make things simple for users.
Yeah.
And that's why
Needs
we-
have been met, yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And with you know, the different pay gates that are out there available,
Yeah.
you know, should people look at specific ones that align with their business strategy? Is this important to look for the right pay gate method?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and it's at the lines of what I was saying earlier. You know, you got to see what your needs are in the market and then align with that gateway that's doing that. You know, like Payfast has quite a lot of years in the business, but there's a lot of other guys in the market now. We all kind of need to align to the same compliance needs and all those type of things. But then you need to start looking at your value adds. What are you getting offered above and beyond that? You know, are you getting that customer service from your payment gateway that allows you to kind of relax? And if your consumer is having an issue, they can contact the gateway directly. Payfast meets that need. Is your fraud and risk mitigation being looked at? Payfast plugs that need. You don't want to worry about these things. You just want to worry about getting your product out there and all that type of things. You know, and leave the payments to the professionals, and you just worry about what you can do with your money once you paid out.
Money thing again. Sure. So, you know, obviously I think a lot of, you know, the issue that I had when I did my first small business is, okay, I've got my website now, everything is good, I've updated it, but now how do I reach my customers? No one's buying, no one's visiting the website, nothing's happening. So could you talk about the importance of online marketing, which is arguably one of the most important things right now if you have a business, right? And expand on how people can go about this in a more successful way.
Yeah, sure. So you're absolutely right. So we started in lockdown, obviously, because that's when you start a business. What we found is that out of necessity or out of just the circumstances, a lot of people started building online businesses. And they make that mistake. So what they do is they actually take a little bit of cash, a little bit of capital that they've saved up, and they spend all of it in creating their website. And what they don't realize is that that is only one part of what you need to consider in this entire journey. So there's so many pointers, and I think that's why this panel is so amazing. You need to obviously get a website up and running, and you need the best, most workable solution at the lowest cost. You need the payment scenario integrated, simple, so that you don't take, because remember, your time is also costly. So a lot of the time we jump in and we put in hours and hours of work, and we forget that that time is actually worth a rand, hopefully more than a rand. But the thing is, that's kind of like what you guys are needing to look at. And then the last thing, so we have all these guys coming on board, and we had people phoning us and saying like, well, I built a website, where is the traffic? And that's I promise you, 70% of people make that mistake. So starting out, knowing that you're going to put an online store in place, make sure that you keep a certain amount of money that you can kind of run from month to month to make sure that those customers come in. So that's the one thing. So in the online customer space, people get very excited because they go, no, I don't have to pay for a physical store or space, right? That's true, but you still have, there's a couple of things, for example, your hosting, your marketing, your services, see those as almost like your rental, your rental costs. Those are really, really important. So firstly, start out knowing that you're going to spend money on an ongoing basis on getting customers to your website to buy your product, knowing that. And then the second part is that when you're doing online advertising, there are various kind of channels that you can advertise on. We focus the majority on Google, and it's for a very specific reason. So when you have a lot of cash, you can spend on multiple channels, right? But if you have a small business trying to get as many people as possible to your website who are in the mindset of buying, Google is your most likely channel for people to actually buy your product. So you want to spend almost all your money, if not all your money, on a platform like Google, and we call it a lean forward channel. Maybe we can explain a little bit later what that means. You advertise on Google specifically, and make sure that every month there's a budget to advertise on Google. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but it does kind of explain what you need to consider when you're starting out your journey when it comes to marketing.
And you mentioned time and costs and everything else. And I think most people never really have any knowledge of, especially if you're starting out with a minimum budget. It's like, what is the cost, to outsource a company like yourself that it's an output for online marketing? So can you speak about that generally? Like, what are the costs around online marketing?
So remember at the beginning I said you have two options. You can do it yourself, or you can pay somebody to do it for you. So let's start talking about paying somebody to do it for you. So there are freelancers out there that help small businesses. They charge 5,000 Rand for setup, month one, 3,000 Rand per month to manage your account, and that's before you've spent money on the Google platform. So then they also say to you, you're definitely not going to be able to make any impact if you're not spending more than 5,000 Rand a month. So now you're already sitting on, like, what is that, 13,000 Rand, right? To start advertising on Google. If you guys have money, go for it. The other option is you doing it yourself, right? 20 hours a week to do Google Ads effectively. Watch a video, do it, watch a video, do it. That's literally how everybody does it, I promise you. Now think about that. If your time equals to, if your time per hour is 600 Rand, 600 times 200 per week, that's what you're paying towards your Google Ads. And I think that that's just really unreasonable amount of money to pay for that.
Fantastic, thank you very much. I want to come back to you, Chris. You mentioned, when you were talking about what you guys offer, you spoke about, you saw a lot of vendors, there are people that are creative and have a lot of products that are put online. Why was it important for you guys to create a marketplace like that, where you not only have people who are creating, products or services or goods, but you also have people who don't have and they want to open a store and sell something? Why was it important to put those aspects together?
So the South African market, there's a lot of people who we like to call hustlers, who are so keen and so ready to start a business, but okay, they might not yet have the right product that they want to sell. They're so keen to start an online shop. We wanted to remove the friction there. If there's already a country full of these amazing products and services, we really wanted to just create a way for people to be able to make more sales on the supplier side of it, make more sales for them, and for people who want to start an online business with a relatively low risk factor to it. It's an amazing way to sell really credible products. You can sell from some of the most renowned South African creators and makers at the click of a button, without having the need of going and finding stock, buying stock, storing the stock in your garage. However you're going to do it. But we try to get rid of that whole layer of managing the inventory yourself, and that whole process is super automated. So if you start Lindo's online shop today, and you add a bunch of products from a bunch of different suppliers, the payments happen automatically, the suppliers get the order automatically, everyone gets paid out automatically. So it's a very resource light operation as well. So it's a really nice way for people to get into e-commerce. There's some people who have it as their focus of their e-commerce business. But yeah, I think for a way, for people who are really keen to get into e-commerce and learn how it works, it's the perfect starting block, yeah.
And Michelle, you obviously touched a little bit on the Google Ads. Can you just expand on the importance of that and why you guys focus on that specifically? And maybe the different channels that exist when it comes to online marketing and why it's important to look at those?
Yeah, so another trend that we picked up is people start their websites over the lockdown period, then they discover, nobody's coming to my website, and then they start advertising on Facebook, right? And then literally 2 or 3 months down the line, they go, people are seeing my ad, nobody's coming to my shop. And that is just because that Facebook is something that we call a lean back channel, and I'll quickly explain what I mean by that. So when you're going through any of your social media channels, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, just look at your posture. You're most likely leaning back and you're scrolling, maybe there's a second screen in the background. And that kind of like posture means that you're in a relaxed state of mind and you're browsing. You're not in a mindset of taking action or purchasing something. And you'll take note, you'll go, that's cool, I must remember that when I need that thing again. But that is the extent of it. So if you are looking for a birthday present for your mom that you forgot online, Have a look again at your posture. You're leaning forward and you're typing into Google, like best present for mom, ASAP, same day delivery.
Yeah,
exactly. So you're leaning forward over your device or over your computer, and you are actually engaging with like intent, right? So you are in a mindset of making a decision. So like I said in the previous chat, like if you have enough money, of course, advertise on the lean back channels, because that's going to remind people that you are there when they want to buy. But if you don't have the cash, like only invest in the lean forward channels, and that can vary from WhatsApp to Google. At the moment, Google is obviously commercially available to everyone, and it really, really is the channel that will give you the results in getting people to your website. So, yeah. Leaning forward.
That observation, because we really do think through our bodies, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So because this panel discussion is, we want to look at practical solutions, and I wanted to engage quite a lot with the audience, so I wanted to keep my questions as minimum as possible, and hope to get more questions from the audience. If you guys have any questions, we're going to start the Q&A session now. So if there's any questions that you have with regards to a business you have, or how to start, or anything that hasn't been answered, please feel free. We'll start anyway. So just raise your hand, and Lisa will give you the mic. You can just say your name. If you have a business, you can mention what your business is or what you do, and you can ask your question to any one of the panelists in front. All right.
My name is Mutinda. Thank you so much for this discussion. I think I just have a few questions. Because I actually tried to start an online store, and I don't think it actually succeeded, so I ended up closing it just to try and try to better, my approach towards it. And I think my question would rather be for Chris.
Speak a little bit louder.
Oh, yeah. So I think my question is for you, Chris, rather. How do you get people to trust an online store? Because I think it's a very important question to ask, because personally, if I'm looking for something and someone suggests a store that is local online, I'd much rather go to take a look. I don't know, I feel like it's much more safer to just go to a bigger brand, and not go through the hassle of the gamble of, is this a legit site? I mean, people are getting scammed so much online, and in South Africa, people are just always so skeptical of online stores and anything that has to do with, online business. So how to get, I know making it look nice to a certain extent can make it seem credible and so on and so forth, but what are more practical tips as to how to get people to trust that you are offering a service that is legit? And also, I wanted to ask, in terms of Shopstar, what makes you think that your brand is a better brand than, say, a bigger company like Shopify? What sets you guys apart as a better merchant for e-commerce?
Sure. So I think it's a good question on the credibility of an online shop. Like I say, appearance is probably first and foremost. As somebody comes onto your website, that's the first thing they're going to see is, do I feel like these guys put the time and effort into this to make it something that's a viable business and not just a fly-by-night project with green and pink and funny things all over the site. So I think appearance is obviously the first thing you're going to see. Beyond that, there's a couple of ways to demonstrate that credibility, and I think social proof nowadays is one of the biggest ways to do that. Don't just, what I find about websites as well, online shops, is everyone has testimonials, but you don't even know if you can trust a testimonial nowadays, because I could write that myself too. So actually linking to and bringing in real-time reviews from platforms like Google or Facebook, and showing, look, these are real reviews written by real people, go and click on it and see our reviews, So social proof is an enormous thing nowadays. And I think that's how a lot of brands are actually establishing that trust. Beyond that, I think a lot of that concern comes down to the payment side. So, having the right gateways that are trusted and established in the market, such as Payfast. I think there's very few people who don't know about Payfast in this country. So having the right gateway from a credibility point of view, so that you go, okay, I'm not sure about these people, but I know Payfast. It kind of bridges that gap between your brand and an established brand. Outside of that, visibility of contact information. Something as simple as that. People, if they go, they don't even have a phone number I can phone. I don't really like the look of this. So I think there's a couple visual aspects. It's all really visual aspects to it, but the social proof is probably where I'd say you have the most chance of showing real, impactful credibility.
Do you mind if I jump in there as well? So the same with marketing, right? For 0 Rand, you can set up like a Google My Business profile, which then links to exactly what you were saying, that if I'm Googling and I see there is an established business, and Google actually goes through verification, so you have to send your documentation that you're a real business if you have opened a page. Exactly, otherwise they'll close you down. So if somebody doesn't have a Google My Business, it's really like warning signs that it's on there, but also if you're marketing and advertising on Google as well. So if you're searching for a product or a service and you're constantly appearing for that customer, that builds trust with them as well. So your marketing has got a big part of trust that it plays towards what you're going to buy online. And I'll give you an example. Last week I bought a inflatable a logo. But the site was horrendous. But every time I searched, that same website came up. I searched, and they had a Google My Business page, and it looks like they've been around since 2016, and yeah, that kind of like built trust, and that's why I use them.
I want to lean into just a bit more on that. I'm in a unique position where I get to speak to your customers, and one of the greatest issues that I always find that comes through is, number one, what's my returns policy? Have that written out nicely. Have end-use agreements there. Have sufficient privacy policies and all that, all nicely written. A lot of people fall short in this and think that, it's fine. Do that. Contact page, very important. People want to know and make sure that it's actually contactable and, not like some deadline. But yeah, those are very important. That comes up actually quite often. And it gives you a sense of calm, and also I can defend better when you have a refunds procedure there from a risk perspective. So keep that in mind as well. It's not just protecting your consumer and giving them a peace of mind, it's protecting yourself. Because if I can't defend, you take the charge.
And then the second part of your question, where do we differ from other platforms in the market? Our core customer, like I said, is the micro enterprise, small business. It's the people who have no idea what they're doing and want to start an online business, or even people who do know what they're doing and want to start an online business, but they're not super comfortable in it. So our speciality is really that early stage business and person. And where we differ for the most part is our team, our customer success team is there to help you make this journey as fruitful as possible. We don't just have technical support, we've got a team of people sitting on live chat with a 6-minute response time, helping people start their business. So, beyond how do I add a product, I'm running into not that happens often, but I'm running into an issue and I can't figure this out. People ask, where do I find a supplier for this? And we really bring our knowledge and experience to help customers in the market and to start this journey. And outside of that, we know the South African market. We know what the South African market needs and wants. Like I say, we deal with a lot of the creative and maker industry, so we've got a lot of strong ties to some of the marketplaces in South Africa, like Karma's Makers, which is a very well-established marketplace. So they kind of fit more into our dropshipping network, where a lot of their vendors are part of that, and Karma's in turn has an online marketplace through our platform. So yeah, the personal approach we take is probably our biggest and most significant difference to them. I mean, I think if you contact some of the bigger ones, it might take a few days and you'll get a response from some obscure place across the world. And that person will never really know who you are, where with us you'll probably deal with the same person every time you contact us. So we really build a relationship with customers.
Thanks guys, I'm Jamie, and I've been doing research with the lowest, the low LSM and the LSM market on online payments, and there is a big issue in South Africa around trust, so I definitely can vouch for that. But with that said, the nice thing about online stores and online business is that you're not just localized to one country. So keeping that in mind, I wanted to ask from the setting up shop and the advertising side, what do you guys think of things in the metaverse? Are you stepping into that space? So if I do want to set up a store and utilize the metaverse, can I come to you guys for that? And then also regarding the payment side, from the Payfast, if I'm in the metaverse and I want to start creating, or maybe not even in the real world, start creating my own type of currency, do you allow for things like that? Or how do you feel about those kind of questions or entrepreneurs or small startups popping up doing things in that space? Question?
So from our point of view, I'm interested in the space. I like it. Whether it's the right thing for us to integrate now, I think we try to keep things as simple as possible. And I think I think it's absolutely a need, but right now it might not be the most well suited to our audience. I think we have broached the topic and discussed some internal plans and ways to bring more blockchain and crypto into it. But at this stage, I think, exactly what you're saying there, it's a super interesting concept, bringing your own currencies and your own, really getting quite flexible with things. But at the moment, that would be a very custom requirement, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for Payfast, we want to just keep it in ZAR at this point, so South African rand. But yeah, the future is unwritten, so watch this space.
From an advertising perspective, so we help you fish where the fish are, right? And that is where most of the people are engaging, and we know that that is Google right now. I had the privilege of experiencing the meta world in a conference environment a couple of weeks ago. It is absolutely mind-blowing, but it's in very small quantities. Number one, your accessories are really expensive, so you're probably only going to have, like, somebody who drives a Tesla will have a metaverse experience, and that, unfortunately, is not where the fish are. So we will explore when the gear is like very cheap, maybe you're kind of like in a whole suit at that point, and when everybody is in there, we'll go and see. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. But there's amazing companies out there, like Soda. They're doing some really good work on that space, and it's a wonderful opportunity for young entrepreneurs to get into, like seeing what the world is about there, creating kind of environments. I think what's really great about South Africa is like our talent, and just like our artwork and our creative and our textures and textiles, and I think a lot of that comes through NFTs, and in that space could be really, really amazing one day. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's happening.
Hi, Byron. I have a question for you with regards to Payfast. So, my name is Gracia, and I'm currently in the process of opening, I've already opened the business with my mom, but we've been struggling to, take it online. And our biggest struggle was the payment, the online payment. That literally, like for the past 2 years, I've been struggling with the payments. And my first question is, how do you cater for new entering businesses? Because I think one of the biggest struggles was the communication between, so I used Wix at some point, and the communication at the payment part, so creating the payment, the online payment, was the struggle. Yeah. So it was the communication, there was a lot of struggles in that. So my first question is, how do you cater for new entering businesses? Because I mean, there's a lot of small businesses that want to enter the e-commerce, and they're not as technical, as educated in the technical sector as as one should be. So how do you cater for them in the technical part, And when all of that is sorted, how do you communicate to the customers? Because you said they don't communicate to us, they communicate to you when they have an issue.
Yeah.
So how do you cater for customers? Because in a place like South Africa, not everyone is as as educated in that, or not even educated, but they don't know how to go about those things. So you can have like a big mama, using it online, so they can easily get lost and demotivated. Like I got very demotivated because of that. And yeah, that's my first question to you, Byron. And for Michelle, I wanted to ask you, how's your strategy as a marketer for businesses? So how do you go about it? How often do you market? And how do you select the target market? And how do you, go forward with that? Yeah.
Sure.
So I'll go first. Two great questions. Well done there. Thanks for making them hard. I spoke to it earlier on though. This is one of the things that I pick up is that people need payments for last. We're not integrated into Wix, not seamlessly at this point yet. I'm in discussions with them, so watch that space once again.
You should say your name is Shopstar.
Use Shopstar, integrated. But look, speaking to that, and how do we get that person over the line? We try our best. Like I was saying, we engage with your consumers, so we also engage with yourself. So the initial conversation we have with you is, what are you doing? How are you wanting to do it? And we will talk about our products and see what's the best fit for you. Sometimes you come with something already and it doesn't fit, and then we have to relook at the whole plan and kind of move things around. It's unfortunate, it does happen. We can't plug everything all the time. We try our best, but it happens. So the Wix solutions, we've got some basic integration that can happen there maybe from a pay now button, and we've got some workarounds we can do as well with other cart options. But once again, these are a solution that we do quite well with. So how we get you on board, those are the conversations we'll have with yourself. So, and how we get to speak to your consumer, and this is going to be the same scenario here. Now, we have a customer service base that is Monday to Sunday. So you get to enjoy that by having a conversation whenever you'd like with that customer service agent that is trained up on all aspects of the business. And you can also be pushed up the line there and speak to me directly if you like. Very open to that. And then when it comes to your consumer, like I was saying earlier also, is that your consumer might have an issue with their card processing. We will flag it at point of transaction. And we will tell them, okay, either go to your bank or come to us and we'll talk to you about what's happening, what we've seen. Or there's an EFT issue, whatever the case might be. Or there's no issues, and they just don't know what's going on. They've never touched payments online before. And that's where they can literally, that's where you get that joy as a merchant by enjoying our customer service department where your consumer is also looked after. So you're not just our client, your consumers are also our clients. There's an offset there as a client. So I hope that answers that.
Use Shopstar. So your question to me about like strategy, I think, so with my experience in the marketing industry, every single business in their different phase needs a different marketing strategy. And I'm experiencing it now with our business, right? So when we started 2 years ago, our marketing strategy was completely different to what it is right now. And what we do is so when we build out our AI, we do two things. We look at businesses who have been successful in the past, right? And we use the strategies and the keywords and the copy that was used in those successful businesses, and we keep that as a record, and we use that in your business if it is applicable. And then also, our AI is built around what is effective for a small business, right? For example, if you are a bigger business, you'll start kind of like what they call kind of like you'll bid against your competitors' keywords, right? We have somebody at the moment that's bidding against ours. And what that does is it chases like up your spend. So our strategy around that, specifically for small businesses, is that we wait until that guy's money is spent, essentially. And then we'll put your business in. So say, for example, somebody is looking for a plumber, right? And we know that one of these kind of like, what's a big plumbing service name?
Drain
Plumbing. No, wait. No,
Something doctor.
Dr. Plum.
Dr. Plum.
Dr. Plum always goes up at the top. So when Dr. Plum's budget runs out, we go, that's an opportunity, and we start putting your ad in there. And that's kind of like the different strategies that we use. Now, when you have AI, you have to build those strategies in up front, which usually means that our AI is very, very effective for small and medium-sized businesses. Everybody spending up to 50,000 Rand a month. Above that, we need a new strategy for you. Does that answer your question?
Hi guys, my name is Melo. I have an online marketplace, and I think what we can mostly establish as business people is that the South African market is very, very new and very unique in itself. So the problem that I've had for most part of my journey in the business space would be creating a user-friendly and flexible marketplace in such a market. So I have a question for each one of the panelists, if that's okay. One is for Chris. As I've said before, my business is a services marketplace. So I need to understand if Shopstar can actually house a marketplace like mine and be able to help me in that journey. And then the second one would be for Payfast. So I had the idea of, like, with my marketplace, it being flexible in such a way with payments too. Because we know that South African consumers don't actually, most of the time they don't use online payments. They would most rather use cash, maybe vouchers or something like that. So I wanted to ask if Payfast actually does support such payment methods. And then the last question would be for Adbot. My business is mainly youth-focused. So you mentioned Google, but I want to know if you can help in regards to maybe Instagram, Twitter, or other social media platforms where it can actually focus on my target market. Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
Cool. I think I need to understand a bit more about your business. What type of services do you do?
I think when someone asked me the question, I was refer them to maybe TaskRabbit. It's a business based in the United States, but mine is more flexible. It's more South African, yeah. And also it focuses specifically on the consumer's needs. You understand? So in such a way where if you need a service, we provide it.
Okay, interesting. So I think to execute that journey well, it would need quite a bespoke user journey to achieve it. I think it deviates from perhaps a traditional e-commerce in a way, in the sense that traditional e-commerce would be either a physical service or a digital service, checkout, cart, payment, and order processed. Where I feel like that might be slightly different to how we've structured the platform. How have you achieved that at the moment of interest? How have you built the platform at the moment?
It started about a year ago, but I had to scrap the whole process because I couldn't find a proper housing for the actual marketplace. Because the site kept on crashing because maybe the user wants to connect to someone providing a service and the site would crash, so I had to scrap the idea. But for now, I had to switch back to the ideation phase and sort out the kinks and everything.
Yeah. So it's almost like a Fiverr Upwork style. Okay. Let me think about that. Maybe we'll chat afterwards. I'll try and think of a solution for you.
From the payment side of things, I actually want to speak to something first with regards to marketplaces. Marketplaces is massive now. Everyone's doing it. Everyone wants in, and it makes sense in the South African market. Problem is, it's not well defined in the SA market as of yet, like it is in the US. It's massive. It's ridiculous. The amount of entrepreneurs we have in SA, and the amount of people that are just got their own little mom and pop shops and all that, it just makes sense to have a marketplace solution, a platform solution where you can house all these people and do their marketing for them and just punt the living hell out of them. And then you just sit back and you make sure that happens. So marketplace is awesome. So you've got something that you should keep on with that. Custom build it out. From a payments perspective with all of that, you obviously got the full suite of payment methods with Payfast. There's a lot of custom dev. You would have to do this, so we use our dev docs and use our APIs and all that to make that happen. So we can chat about that if you like. I'll just speak to that. Oh yeah, and then there's another area that I want to speak to that might just interest you and just spark this for yourself as well, is that we created a split payment functionality now. What that allows for is you as a platform to get involved in the transaction. And that's where that shortfall is. Now, remember, it's still quite early stages, so it's one-to-one. When I say one-to-one, is that a consumer will come into your platform, will go into whichever store they'd like to purchase from, you know, the plumber, the whoever, and they'll select that service, or they'll purchase those goods. They have to then check out. So checkout will happen with your credits as the platform, receiving transaction, or the service provider, preferably the service provider, and then you as the platform take just a percentage or a fixed amount of that transaction. So you get in on the action immediately. Right? So that's quite cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think just to echo on that, use the payments up front. Don't try and manage the accounting yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just to add to your point, marketplaces are massive. So if it is something that you're really interested in, start putting some thoughts down, put a presentation down, and go and see acceleration programs. There's so many out there. Maybe we can do an email afterwards and just send some information around accelerators that can help you build out that process. And if it does need custom dev, you know, perhaps they have the relationships or maybe the funding that can help you get there. So we'll send that out. From a marketing perspective, what was your question again?
It was in regards to my business being focused. So
Gotcha.
I would need like maybe Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Got you. So, like I said, with the lean back and lean forward, right? Youth also use Google. They don't use Facebook anymore, but they definitely use Google. Google owns 92% of all internet search volumes, right? That's enormous amount. If you go to these accelerators and you build out your custom platform, they will also give you money to advertise on the different channels. To advertise on the different channels like Twitter and Instagram and those kinds of things, you have to have a budget no smaller than 50,000 rand. So, yeah, per month. Yeah, 50,000 rand per month to make a slight impact. So, yeah.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Debo Mabusela, and I was a former co-director at the Startup Grind at the Cape Town chapter. So, yeah, I worked with Lindo there. But my questions were around user experience. So you mentioned it as one of the things that build trust. And I wanted to ask, how does that work out in terms of having flexibility on building on Shopstar, as well as also just having maybe templates that can help. So maybe if you're someone who doesn't have much and doesn't know how they're going to do it, are there templates that are there already? And then if you are someone who'd like to have a bit of a more custom approach, can you integrate the two? And I also like to hear the marketing perspective from that. And the second part of the question is, so usually in marketing, when you're like engaging and interacting with people, trying to get your product out there, you do get feedback. So I wanted to ask, is there an integrated approach where you can also get feedback and hear from your customers? What do they like about the things and what don't they like from the marketing that you guys integrate as Adbot?
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, it's a good question. So I think achieving that user experience, you know, we unify the checkouts on Shopstar. Let's start there. So the checkout process is a process that we've tested, modeled, and optimized with all the data and all the shops that come through it. Sorry, shoppers that come through it. So we've worked out what a very good formula for success is there. And I think letting people get creative with that might lead to some more negative results. It's possible, but we try and keep that as an advanced feature. From a shopfront point of view, we've taken quite a new approach to our page builder, which is, it's a block approach, it's a block building approach. So we've got over 170 different design blocks that are pre-designed with a beautiful UI that you can choose from. So, you know, some examples of those blocks might be a hero block with a big image, a content block with a paragraph, another content block would be a paragraph and a piece of text on the right. So there's just a bunch of different variations of different executions that are already pre-designed. And you can drag those in to your page and structure it however you want. So the flexibility combined with the pre-designed component is where we've kind of landed with that tool. So, you know, I think it meets, as you say, you want the flexibility to, I don't like that over there, I want it higher on the page, but also with, you want the pre-designed because maybe you're not the most creative guy in the world, but, you know, I can't draw. So I love it because I can just choose from nicely designed things. So yeah, I think we've reached a very good place with that blend of flexibility and design.
So from your first question, so customer input is obviously critical to your product development and also your experience online. Now, what we do for ourselves at Adbot is there are platforms like MailChimp out there that makes it really easy to connect with your customers. And they've got a new function which is surveys. And literally every time we do something, we put a survey out, we go, do you like it, don't you like it? Tell us what you like most about us. And people have been very kind in responding. And that gives us information on how to kind of like market forward. Like for example, we did Carla actually did it. Our survey on like what is important for our clients, what do they like about our product, and we had like 10 different things. And we thought like number 1 and number 5 and number 8 was important, and then realized number 1, 2, and 3 were really important. And then we changed our marketing and changed like some of the stuff that we highlight on our website in order to speak to those things that make them really kind of like, yeah.
Places like that, you can see, listen, this is like off market and I'm never going to get there. So what has also happened is I've taken a lot on myself, you know, to the 20 hours. And it's very frustrating because you're not getting far or you're not getting anywhere, you know. I do have a walk-in store as well, so there's a bit of friction, and it's almost like I want to pull my hair out because I'm not sure. I've got Google ads running, but you know, you need to, it's that case of like, okay, I'll follow the instructions, but what is the impact? How do I, so in terms of the Paygate as well, I have an online store at the moment, but there's been no traffic. So I can see people being clicked on my web page, but there's been no sales through it. So I'm not sure what am I doing? And so Chris, I definitely want to ask also, will you be able to integrate what has been done onto your platform, or do we have to restart the process from start? Yeah.
Cool. First.
Yeah, so I'll speak about the marketing side of things, right? I think what you're probably experiencing is because you're not putting in the 20 hours or not knowing exactly what it is that you need to do, what's happening is you learning with your budget, right? Which is fair enough. If you have the money, go for it. But I think unfortunately... No. So I think the great thing about Adbot is that the AI is an algorithm that works with Google's algorithm, right? And if Google kind of like changes and tries to do some tricks, this algorithm literally kind of like follows it, right? But if you're a human and Google's algorithm is kind of like starting to make like different adjustments and tricks, it takes you about a week to figure it out, to see where that is going. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest things that small budgets, where we fall short, is because we don't have the money to test and spend and learn. And if we use an algorithm, like the one for Adbot, it follows that and it actually gives you the value of the money that you're putting in. Why are people, so it sounds like people are coming to your website, number one, which means that there is some reach and there's interest, which is fantastic. It tells you that Google is working, right? You're most likely not reaching the right people, okay? So then once it is working, you just need to make sure that the right people are clicking through, and then Chris can speak to this a little bit, but putting your tags on the right place, so putting your tags on your checkout. So what the machine then does is it starts optimizing for conversion. So people who have not just clicked on your page, but who've actually added things to the cart, and they look at lookalike audiences like that, and that's kind of like what it goes out to, and it optimizes to get those people to your site.
So Michelle, if I could just add in there, what I do is I create my own ads and videos and things like that, and just throw it out on different groups and stuff like that, and through that, you know, you get people actually navigating to your website.
So that is a lean forward channel. Those closed groups, those Facebook groups, those WhatsApp groups, those are lean forward channels where people are engaging and saying like, guys, I need this today, and people answering and responding. And that's why it's working so well, is it because it's people are in a mindset of actually taking action and going to a place where they can be helped.
I think, you know, from getting people to the site, nowadays ads are forefront and center. But I think you've also got to take a very holistic approach to it. Creating content is probably second in the line there, you know. Whether it's shooting videos of this is how we're using this chemical, or this is how we're making this chemical today, or we're going to apply it to this and look up whatever it does to this thing. I don't know what the chemicals do. But pushing that content on your social, on blogs, on your website, content on your website, you know, putting that into blogs, people find it organically through search as well. And then you can start to market those content pieces, which you can do it through Adbot. So you're not bidding on Chemicals Cape Town. You can start to market those content pieces and just grow a bit of authority in the market because of the content you're putting out. So content, super important, and then there's various layers to that marketing strategy you must have. But yeah, and then in terms of, you know, the platform, depends on what your current setup looks like. We do have tools to synchronize and import from Shopify's and WooCommerce's of the world. So it's a one-click synchronization, and all your products, stock, inventory are pulled in. So in theory, make it easy. Unless you've done something very unique, then we'd have to look at it.
Hi guys, I'm Ben. I'm in blockchain/fintech. My question is a bit more general though, from quite a few people who might find it interesting. So it's with regards to all three of you in the various facets of your sectors. But what exactly are the analytics that you guys provide to the user? Because I mean, it's fantastic you're having all of these three services that you guys provide. But if I don't have access to the analytics telling me more about like, oh hey, who is the customer that's clicking on my adverts? Who are the people that are going through the cart? What are the most frequent payment methods made? And things like that. So if you guys could each elaborate on that, would be really appreciated. Thank you.
Sure. So we, for the last 4 years, have been collecting various anonymized data, and we've built a warehouse of, you know, what people are clicking on, where they're clicking, you know, what products generally work, and what industries. And our plan is to make that public knowledge, wealth of knowledge. You know, it's something that we want to do. At the moment, we give analytics that you would expect, you know, akin to Google Analytics within the dashboard. And then we've taken it a step further now and gone into the order insights, so using a bit of machine learning to generate order insights and predictability, projection on orders and how it might look based on past performance. But, you know, it's an interesting question. I think something that we try and do in our design of the platform is to bring opinionated, because it's hosted and we really do the dev and the build of it, we try and use the data that we understand to inform our decisions so that you might not necessarily need to know it, although you probably want to, but
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. So a lot of people ask us, you know, like what keyword is performing the best, and you know, like, and the reason why they ask that is because they've been doing it themselves and they need that information so that they can put the right money behind the right keyword, etc. But no, they don't have to do that anymore. So that's kind of like not really needed for them. So from an advertising perspective, we have two parts of analytics. If you're really kind of like a data detail-orientated guy, we connect to your Google Analytics, and you can go as deep and far and wide into Google Analytics as you want to, and figure out kind of like how things work there. Or alternatively, we've simplified our reporting tool that is available on our platform, and it focuses on the things that's going to be important to you. So we don't bring in like how much did we bid on what keyword and where. All we say is like what our customers are interested in is like how much did I pay per click to get somebody onto my website. So click-through rate and cost per click are the two most important things for our customers, and we make those visible. And what we also do is we show you your impression share of advertising. So impression share is just of the market that's available and of the people that's looking for your keywords. How much of that do you own based on your budget? And so yeah, so I agree. Like a lot of people ask us for like detailed information, and they can go into Google Analytics and get it. But the reality is they don't need it. They just need to focus on, I need to get my cost per click as high as possible, low as possible, and my click-through rate as high as possible. Thank you.
Yeah, some of you probably know this saying, you know, data's done, and you know what to do with it. So from a payments perspective, we're sitting on a ton of data, and we're focusing more on it now. So from our perspective, there's a couple of levers to pull there, and the first one would be how do we assist our merchant in order to better understand the consumer's payments. So from a reporting perspective, instead, you'll see the different payment types, and you can do what you need with those reports. And what that means to you is like, 60% is credit card, 50% is whatever, 40% is EFT, or whatever the case might be. You can make your moves on that, and you can advertise accordingly to the markets based on that. The other aspect is we're trying to make it also, but the other users are trying to make it a bit more user-friendly. So there's a bit of gamification we're looking at now. So our dashboard has been revamped, and there's some nice little tools and little things there that you can see, how things, nice little graphs and all that. And we're just growing from that perspective as well. So yeah.
All right, for the sake of time, we'll take one or two more questions. There's one behind you, and then we'll go that side.
It's exciting. I'm loving all these questions. We can carry on now. How long do we have to be here?
We've been 2 hours.
2 hours.
Okay, my name is Hope. Doing fine too now. So my question is to payments. So you have the website, and the marketing is good, and the payment is good, and you actually make that first few sales. And you basically need to get them delivered to your customers now, but the withdrawal. Okay, I'm not, sorry. Do I need to repeat myself?
I heard you.
Okay, cool. So the withdrawal, because I've used Payfast for like a while, and when you need to withdraw, it takes a while because you can't withdraw immediately. About 2 days, and even after you withdraw, it needs to clear. Yeah. So it actually delays your whole shipment, so you actually ship after like 4 days or so. Yeah. So that was literally a dilemma for me because I shipped after a long period of time, and obviously reviews and stuff like that. It's a really bad impact. So what do you advise your clients on that aspect? Do you advise for prepaid couriers? Because that's actually a lot of money. Because for couriers like courier guy, for a business account, you need to actually pay a certain amount of money to actually start sending through products. So what do you advise in terms of withdrawals, and if you need to use the funds from sales to get your inventory moving?
Got you. And excellent question. And number one, you shouldn't be relying on that funds to complete that sale. It's quite important to know that. And number two is to remember who you're dealing with. And once again, knowing your gateway. Now, we're an aggregator model, so we receive on your behalf and take all that red tape out of the way for you, so we're excellent for entrepreneurs. But yes, from a liquidity perspective, there's a bit of time there, and it needs to be there because settlement must still happen in the background. And we've tried to make it as lean as possible, so that 48-hour hold period does need to be there. And then there's 2 working days once settled to your bank account. That's because you're using an aggregator model through Payfast. Now, obviously, we've partnered with Paygate, which has a switch model. And then they have now direct settlement. Bit more that needs to happen there in order to get that happening, but that's more for that type of need when you need instant funds, when it's direct settlement into your bank account, because then you own the bank account and an immersion account with the bank in order to get your funds quicker. But the main takeaway here is to actually remember the fact that you shouldn't be using that funds to get goods out. You should have working capital.
So maybe do some online research around how to build up your cash flow, because that's essentially what you're using to pay for the stuff that comes in. And when your business is growing, you're spending more than what you're getting in, or faster than what you're getting in. And that's where the capital part comes in. Again, like the accelerators, etc. So maybe afterwards we can maybe send some links on how to grow cash flow and what accelerators can help. Just that initial kind of cash flow part.
Hey guys.
Hi.
So my question is to Adbot. With regards to machine learning, is this something that you patented and you're created on your own? If not, do you all adopt this on a global perspective? And if you are patented, do you have any ideal in terms of expanding globally and penetrating a great market space?
Yeah, so the AI software actually lives in Sweden, so it doesn't live in South Africa. Is it patented? No. The reason for that is because technology is moving so fast. I mean, in 2 years, 5 years' time, our AI will look completely different to what it looks like now. What is kind of like unique about our software is that that skill set that's required to build out our software needs a developer that understands AI development as well as Google search, right? And it's very rare to find those two and bring those two parts together. And that's why you'll find that those skill sets is mainly in Europe, very close to Ireland, Netherlands, and Sweden. So we make use of those guys to build it out for us.
So adding on that, what if they are individuals within South Africa, they can offer you that service, like specifically grad students coming out. Do you see opportunity within your company for them to apply?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
My name is Mohammed. I'm a t-shirt manufacturer.
Sorry, you're a?
I'm a t-shirt. I make t-shirts.
T-shirts?
Yeah.
Man, if you make cups, please. We need a chat.
Okay. So I've got like 4 questions here. We're going to make it fast. So I registered with Payfast 2016 and I haven't been using them ever since. What happened? Because my business is as slow as my friend did.
Just weeks.
Yeah, so I wanted to know, can one link a dollar account to a payout? Because of payouts, can I link my dollar account there? Number 2, you have a shareable link, which is very convenient, but what happened to the buttons? Is there a way you guys can make the payment button also shareable on the website? And then number 3 is when I was verifying my documents, which is the business one, I'm the only director on the, but there's another option down there that said another director's document, of which I don't have any other director on me. So I'm not able to do payouts right now because of that reason.
Okay. So we can talk about this afterwards as well, so I can sort you out quite quick.
And the last question is, can one move his PayPal funds directly to Payfast?
Okay. So a couple of questions. So the currency one, we only settled in Rand, so that's what it is. Your consumer will pay Rand value, but the card provider will do the conversion at point of transaction. So just 2 elements I want to bring up there from a currency perspective. From your account perspective, we'll chat about that. I'll get my guys on top of it and we'll sort that out. Yeah, you just need one director. One director, that's all we need. So there must be an issue, then I'll get the guys to set up for you. What was the last question that you had? PayPal. Shareable links and PayPal. So let's talk about PayPal. No relation there. So that's not happening at this point. Paygate does have, if I'm under correct, yeah, they do have that relation there. Shareable links we do have. So we create, I think, 3 types of basic links. An email link, and then an embedded link, and an entire form, which is more for buttons. So that email link is shareable. You can literally reuse that as many times as you like. You can even edit the amount fields in that link.
So what I noticed was on the shareable button, the client on that end can put their own custom amount.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but with the shareable link, it's just...
No, unfortunately not. Yeah, the shareable link that's it. But you can set that link here. But yeah, unfortunately, if it's that amount, it's that amount. And, yeah. But the button allows for customization, where you can put a custom amount, quantity, and I think you can add a delivery note there as well. Yeah.
Is there a way you guys can make the shareable button also where I can just share that custom amount?
I would need to see use case, and then I'll chat to the devies on our side. So we can chat and I'll start that conversation.
If you're able to do that, I think you'll be one of the best.
Perfect.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, that was very interesting. That was amazing. That was
Yeah, well
really
done,
amazing.
guys. That was really, really good.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad that we made the Q&A session a bit longer. But guys, they will stick around, I hope. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes. So you guys can ask questions if you have any questions that haven't been answered. If you just want to chat to them, and I'm sure this guy's going to be chatting to you quite a lot.
Yeah.
I'd also like to take this time to just thank my team, Anissa, my amazing co-director, sort of behind all the hard work and commitment and putting all this thing together. So thank you to you. Thank you to Sassy, who's our marketing manager, but she's not here, unfortunately. And of course, our amazing partners and sponsors. Our partners include Ofazan, who are providing these amazing swaggers. If you haven't have a t-shirt or anything, please go grab. Of course, thank you to Sir Fruit Juice for always providing an amazing product. Chipash is actually here. Welcome, and thank you very much for that. A big shout out to our sponsors, who happen to be our panelists for today. So these guys, not only did they sponsor and help us put this event together, but they actually also agreed to be part of this and to make this a success and to make this happen. So we appreciate you guys believing in our dream and believing, not our dream, but just believing in our community and our vision to try and put this together and to make an impact of some sort. And we want to grow this community to be bigger than it is now. And we can only do that with the help of people like you. So we really are grateful for that and we're thankful. Please give a round of applause for our amazing panelists.